Hello and welcome to the next video in the series of economic versus the environment, and this is about biodiversity. Here we go. Where jungle is cleared to be replaced with agriculture, there is often a limited impact on global warming. If jungle is being replaced by palm oil trees, as is happening in Indonesia and Malaysia, we could say that a rich, multi-species plant environment, which supports a rich variety of animals, birds and insects, is being turned into a monocultural agricultural environment with a limited number of plant, animal, insect or bird species. However, this does not contribute to global warming because crudely, we are replacing jungle trees with farm trees, but there are still trees occupying the same ground. The case against this land use change can be called a biodiversity argument. This is the idea that it is fundamentally better to maintain a large range of species on Earth than a smaller number. Look at this extract from the World Wildlife Fund's website, and the link is below. So, quote, how many species are we losing? Well, this is the million-dollar question, and one that's very hard to answer. Firstly, we don't know exactly what's out there. It's a big, complex world, and we discover new species to science all the time. Quote, scientists were startled in 1980 by the discovery of a tremendous diversity of insects in tropical forests. In one study of just 19 trees in Panama, 80% of the 1,200 beetle species discovered were previously unknown to science. Surprisingly, scientists have a better understanding of how many stars there are in the galaxy than how many species there are on Earth. So in only 19 trees, they found 1,200 beetle species, apart from any other kind of species. So if we don't know how much there is to begin with, we don't know exactly how much we're losing. And that's the end of the quote. So, question. If we value biodiversity so much, why didn't we have a huge party when 960 new species were found in 1980? And the answer is because nothing actually changes when we find a species. The underlying biodiversity already existed. We just didn't know about it before. However, when a species becomes extinct, the diversity is definitely reduced. Another question, can we seriously say that we value the diversity of species when we don't even put in the effort to find out how many there are? And I don't know the answer to that. That's an open question. Next question, why is a large range of species so important? And the answer given by the biodiversity supporters says there may be a plant in the Amazon rainforest that will be a cure for cancer, but if it becomes extinct before we realize it can do that, we've lost a huge opportunity. The answer is that they don't believe the rainforest argument, probably. Or they aren't serious about finding a cure, which is possible. Or they think that laboratories and hospitals are more likely to find a cure than the rainforest, which is probable. So this argument doesn't support the way many biodiversity supporters think. So for example, let's imagine that a new species of zebra is found on a remote island off the coast of Africa. It is identical to all the rest of the zebra species except that its stripes go from head to tail, not round the stomach. And there are only 50 left. Should we care if it becomes extinct? The answer about medicine from the Amazon doesn't work in this situation. We have checked and there is no medical significance in the different direction of the stripes. Yesterday, we didn't know this species existed. How is our life better now that we know? If it doesn't exist next year, how will our lives be worse? Supporters would say that biodiversity is a good thing in its own right. We have to be very careful with this kind of argument. Statements like this are not based on reason or scientific or rational proof. They represent a belief system, not a rational judgment. Let's look again at what the World Wildlife Fund says about this. Quote, biodiversity is our safety net. Think of all the different species and places on our planet as threads in a net. The more threads that intertwine, the stronger the net, and the better nature can provide for us and cope with threats such as climate change. End of quote. What do you think about this argument? And this is where you have to use your critical thinking. So maybe pause the video, take a moment to think about what your opinion is about that argument. To avoid making the video too long, I'm going to go straight on and give you my thoughts. They have told an easy to understand story about biodiversity to support their point of view. But is there really any reason to think that biodiversity is like a net? Is there any reason to think the net is stronger with 1 million normal zebras plus 50 with head to tail stripes than it would be with 1,050,000 normal zebras? If I supported the opposite point of view, I could make up a rival story that led to exactly the opposite conclusion. It would go like this. Biodiversity is bad because it creates a battle for survival between species. The more species, the bigger the battle. Think of it like the Titanic with not enough lifeboats. For every passenger that jumps into the sea and dies, the chances of another passenger surviving gets better. In the same way, every species that becomes extinct improves the chances that members of other species will survive. This is not, in fact, my view on the subject. I am trying to show that anyone with any view can make up a story to support their viewpoint. It can sound quite sensible, but if there's no requirement to show in some rational or scientific way that the story is an accurate reflection of the true situation, it doesn't mean very much. Do you care about biodiversity? Try this test. Question 1. Approximately how many species became extinct last year? Question 2. Name one of them. If you can't answer these questions, can you seriously expect people to believe that you care about biodiversity? The strong evidence is that regardless of what we may say, most of us don't really care about biodiversity. That is not to say that we don't care about orangutans being wiped out by converting jungle to oil palm plantations. But our reasons for wanting them to live are nothing to do with biodiversity. It's probably more because they look cute and a lot like humans. Ask yourself this question. Would you be upset if the mosquito that spreads malaria becomes extinct? If the answer is no, you're saying that in this case, all the arguments in favor of biodiversity don't count. And then we debate when they count and when they don't. Debates like this, that go on and on without a decision, become unimportant. You can see many examples of this among doctors. People debate about whether it's okay to put a pig's heart into a human. The debate goes on, and then someone does it. People who agree with it have the operation, and people who don't agree with it don't have it. The debate is not important anymore. In environmental debates, the developers often try to end the argument like this. So here's an example. There is a part of the forest where geese lay their eggs and raise baby geese before they fly away in the cold season. Environmentalists want to save this area so the geese can continue what they have always done. The developers go at night and cut down the trees, and the debate cannot continue. The place where the geese lay their eggs is destroyed, so there's nothing left to protect. This is the end, my friend. See you next time.